Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ways Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usaywa Mesale. And today, yes, it's Monday. As always, I have Marianne and Messi. Should I call his name?
Why not here?
Messi, how are you?
I'm very well. You always crack me up so badly.
I traveled.
Marianne, how are you?
I'm good. Thank God we're alive.
Absolutely. Apologies. How would I say condolences for your loss at the office. It's so sad. You know, and this is why I say to people that most times it's not like things are not really going bad, but I've just chosen not to focus on the things that are going bad and just, what's the word?
Stay positive.
Stay positive. So that's why when I wake up every morning, the first thing I do is leave a gratitude note to God.
Yeah.
Not because everything is perfect, but I'm just grateful to be alive.
Exactly.
I mean, it is. I always say now, would they alive now? They worry whether you never chop or whatever.
They catch person, you don't die.
I'm telling you, it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah,
may I just hope and pray that his wife is able to you know stay strong just for the sake of those kids. It's really painful.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
All right, Mary. Messi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Messi,
yeah.
Messi, have work
okay.
tomorrow.
So we still have what?
I say you have work tomorrow now.
Yes, I do. I do have work. I'm literally working on this story and just very excited about it. And hopefully, we just get to see
as a
how
field
it
agent
works.
that you ease.
Exactly. Literally, I'm part of the reason why I'm not going to be, out here. Lots going on, just like you stated earlier on. I think it's just important that we just keep our spirit high and constantly just stay positive. I had a conversation this evening when I saw Chinelu's face looking one kind. And I'm like, what's wrong? Just cheer up, because things might not always be, the way we anticipate them, but we have to just be very, determined and resilient. The spirit of fighting and just
don't say resilience because I think our politicians have bastardized that word and it makes us really look bad.
So what I'm just trying to say is just, keep on keeping on and just stay with what's working.
All right, so if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV, please go there and subscribe. Now, tonight in partnership with Enough is Enough, we will have a quick chat with Diane Kalu. She's the founder of We Care Lakota Foundation to discuss the impact of civic engagement in fighting poverty and inequality. Hi, and she's joined us via Zoom. Hi, Diane.
Hello, and good evening to everyone in the studio today.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Diane.
Good evening. I mean, Diane, this conversation, when I saw this topic, I said this is a fantastic topic, but, I don't know. Let me not be pessimistic, right? Is it possible, right, that truly civic engagement can help to curb or fight the inequality and the poverty that we're facing here in Nigeria? And if so, how?
Yes, first of all, would like to know what exactly civic engagement is, and it's simply the participation of individuals to influence or shape decisions that affect their communities. And there are several types of civic engagement. And, you can have them in politics, in economics, social processes. And it's really essential to, combat inequality. And the ways in which this happens is through the empowering of these individuals or communities to take collective actions towards social and economic change. Now, to it being a vital tool to combat poverty, if we come together as nonprofits to lend a voice to, the unemployment, all of us in this country at the moment know that things are really, really expensive. If we come together to lend a voice, take, let's say, marches, come out, say no to, the things that are going on in our society. That's some kind of civic engagement. If more nonprofits are able to come out and also, take up like social impacts programs to ensure that people are well taken care of in this, what I call it perilous time. That's also a way that
okay.
those civic.
All right, let me come to Marianne because I have my reservations about that. Because if it comes to civic engagement, I think a good number of young people are really, involved and they're speaking up. But where most of them are in the prison, they're in Kirikiri. But let me come to Marianne.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to take her up with, the issue of coming out, protesting. I literally read my mind. There are young people who are in prison today, and they are there because they were protesting against hunger. But they're now in prison, and a court has actually put a fine on them for treason. What's the, I'm looking for the right word, the guarantee that if people hit the streets again, because they've done it many times, and it looks like it falls on deaf ears. So is it about the civic engagement in itself, or are there other ways to engage in the civic space other than protest to get people to be more informed about what they're protesting for, how to go about it? Because I don't know if we can really hold on to that protest or those marches as a tool, because I'm thinking it falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. So we can't stop, right? I don't think that it will be appropriate to stop halfway. It's going to be a long haul, but we have to keep doing it. However, using education as a tool to transform the society. For example, if we have a more robust curriculum in our schools, first of all, to teach things like civil rights. If we have more, NGOs again, come out to kind of like let the people know, okay, some kind of education, do more awareness on, these are the things we need to do, these are the things that we don't need to do. It's, you know how you focus on hitting a particular spot over and over again. Eventually it will crack. I know that there's a lot of discouragement. I know that people don't want to, participate, but we literally cannot give up because so this country
I'm sorry, I have to come in there for the want of time. But quickly, this is on the long term. I'd like to ask, how can we build a culture of, civic responsibility that continuously addresses poverty across generations?
The first thing I would say is still education. Every time there's an opportunity to create awareness, to create possible education, we need to do that. We need to self-advocate. A lot of people don't know how to advocate for themselves, A lot of people they don't have enough information. So the more we pump this information out there, the more we from the little kids, our children, not just to read or sing the national anthem, teach them what they need to know. The more we do that, the transformation may be slow, but you know what they say, slowly but surely these things would eventually take place. Unfortunately, now it's nothing to write home about, but at the end of the day, it's like a seed that we're planting. the more we do it. I mean, look at the 2023 elections. I believe that that election was something that, young people, that was the first time that young people really came out to vote. Some of them, it was their first time of, hearing about certain policies or electoral laws and things like that, and which shouldn't be. If we all pass through, the secondary school, the primary school, the university system, education system, we should have this awareness. So I'm saying if we can put it in the curriculum, if we can, as nonprofits, do more work in maybe going to the communities, saying it in various languages.
Okay.
I think there will be some change.
All right.
In, even sing it in songs. I think that
Absolutely.
it would
help.
help.
All right. Thank you so much, Diane Kalu. She's the founder of We Care Lakota, and this is in partnership with Enough is Enough. Thank you so much for your time this evening. All right. So tonight, we will be having a conversation that would focus on the new bill mandating tax IDs for bankers and stockbrokers. And we'll be asking questions or asking the question, is the tax ID for bankers a game changer? And here's what we found as today's quote. It says, for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. This is so not going to be possible. All right. So we'll take a break. When we come back from that break, we'll see what we found in today's news. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, World Standard Day, celebrated annually on October 14th, honors the contributions of experts in developing international standards. Established in 1970, it commemorates the first meeting in 1946, where delegates from 25 countries initiated efforts towards global standardization. The 2024 theme, Our Shared Vision for a Better World, emphasizes standards' role in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in promoting health, equality, and sustainability 1 to 4. And various activities worldwide engage stakeholders to recognize the importance of standardization in enhancing safety, trade, and innovation. All right, quickly, ladies, what did we find in today's news? Let me come to you, Marianne.
Oh, what did we find in the news? I want to talk about insecurity, something that has been in my heart for a long time, and I keep wondering if we really are serious about fighting corruption. Now, former presidential candidate for the Labour Party, Peter Obi, spoke recently about insecurity, and he said Nigeria is losing count of citizens killed. And just to take our minds closely to what's happening, just over the weekend in Kebbi, one person was killed, several others injured, and the Kabiyesi in Kwara State said they tried to call security operatives. They tried to reach out to even the army that was earmarked for that area. Nobody was picking up. So they killed one person, and they obviously kidnapped other people and injured others. And this is down south here. You know, when we talk about insecurity like that, they think it's in the north. You know, I had somebody even called my show today to say, when the northerners are ready to end insecurity, they will end it. What does that even mean? So it begs the question, how ready are we to deal with insecurity front and center? Will we ever be ready? Because you bring a guest here, he will say, oh, we need political will. Are we going to buy the will from America or from Germany? Where exactly? So, I mean, and Peter will be saying, now these people are no longer human beings. They're now numbers to us. We also saw how journalists were kidnapped and killed, attacked in the southeast, I think. Journalists from Enugu, yes, somewhere in Enugu.
The attack happened.
Yes.
To you.
And again, we just reported, even us, the media, were complicit. It's now just numbers. We're no longer placing emphasis and telling the stories as they develop. It breaks my heart because it doesn't mean anything until it hits close to home. So I don't know which home is going to hit close to for us to take it seriously, whether it be the home of the politician, the home of the security agent, or maybe our homes. Then we might probably be awake to the responsibilities. I don't know.
Mary.
Messi.
All right, so
Messi. Oh.
yes, it's about the despicable pictures, or not necessarily pictures, but situation of the Super Eagle, where Super Eagles and her officials were subjected to in Libya. Now, if you don't already know, they were in Libya, and they were supposed to, actually, the flight was supposed to, head to Benghazi, but it was diverted midway and, to a non-functional airport for no reason. With, at the end of the day, they had, no access to basic things like food, access to internet, and just necessary things that they would need. So according to the reports, because at some point we got the reports that this airport that they took them to was not a functional airport.
Just used for Hajj,
and all of that, So it's very, very despicable. Now, on the other side of the divide, we started hearing reports that, it's more like a retaliation, because I saw the news, some of the news media in Libya saying it was a retaliation of what happened, how Nigerians actually treated Libyans or the Libyan team when they came to play, at the stadium in Uyo. And that's on the other side. However, this actually got a lot of, the power of the social media came on board when our players got online. We saw the likes of Truster Kong. We also saw Victor Boniface, all of them tweeting and just putting out pictures there. Long and short of the story is that they are finally back to Nigeria. They just returned back to Nigeria. And I think that this plan to boycott the game. They're not going to have that game. CAF has actually said, okay, we're opening investigation to it. Investigations, we've seen a lot of investigations that has gone back and forth. And then again, you also have a lot of people speaking out. You've had the minister himself of sports and all of that. But for me, this is very, very unfair. If you think that you had any kind of treatment, ill treatment when you came to Nigeria, I think that you have
registered it.
It should have been registered, appropriate channel, which wasn't actually the case. And it's really saddening to see that this is Africa, just the continent, we're doing this to ourselves.
We've always
been
like
a lot.
that. All right, so I just wanted to bring our attention to a collapsed building at Orile Gomu earlier today.
Did you hear you need to hear, you would not understand the gravity of what's happening in this video until you hear the cries, the shout.
The shout and all of that.
And
it's so sad to find out that this building they had actually marked it for demolition. So I don't know. I just want to beg people. See, when someone has come and marked a building for demolition, it's not because of your,
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that. It's not because of your. I mean, it's not like they hate you, or it's not because they are trying to. What's it called? Oppress you or whatever. I mean, you can clearly see that this structure was really, really, for it to fall like a pack of cards. I'm just pleading and appealing. Anybody that is living in a high-rise building right now, and that that building has been marked for, like, you should be a lot of meters away from that property.
Run away.
Just run away from that property, because it will come down. If a structure is defective, it will fall. I mean, there's
at
no
some
two ways
point,
about
and it's not
it.
going to tell you that it's going to fall. It will fall.
Again, with the way a lot of people that build, cut corners, right? You can easily know that. I mean, so certain standards and all of that, because abroad you see houses 1,000 years old, 800. I mean,
Lagos State government quickly comes out to tell you that, they're putting this in place. And a friend of mine has been calling our station every day to say, I've been trying to start a project. I've been asking how to get
the permits.
They're not giving it.
Approvals,
they keep giving him the runaround because they want him to pay a certain amount of money to settle people.
But that does not mean that you will not.
But you see, that's the thing. People will cut corners because government is setting too many bottlenecks, or the people working in civil service are putting too many bottlenecks. So yes, we'll continue to have these building collapses until government is ready to do its job. It's that simple.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back from that break, we want to dive straight into the conversation around the tax IDs. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
The fact remains, I agree with Uwa, honestly, I agree with you, that the responsibility of ensuring the protection of our children within the school system is in the hand of the parents. If the parents fail, nobody is coming for our children, the government is not coming for our children. You can see what is going on. What is the position of the Federal Ministry of Education and the institution responsible for universities in Nigeria? In the case of Ajayi Crowther University, have they issued a statement? Have they issued a statement in respect of Veritas? They've not. They are not interested. So when we keep putting our faith in the hands of people that have shown through their ways, their character, that are not interested in governance, but in their own pockets, in the way in something, in things that work for them. Why do we want to pretend?
Hi, thanks for staying with us. Now, tonight on the show, we're talking about the new tax bill that requires tax ID for bankers, finance workers to open, operate bank accounts, and that's corporate bank accounts, and also asking the question, is the tax ID for bankers a game changer? Now, a new bill in Nigeria is mandating that bankers and stockbrokers must provide a tax identification number to open or operate bank accounts, and this legislation aims to enhance tax compliance and improve revenue collection across the country. The bill presented to the National Assembly specifies that anyone involved in banking, insurance, or financial services must apply 18 as a prerequisite for account access. Non-residents earning only passive income are exempt, but must still provide relevant information to tax authorities. Now, failure to comply could result in penalties starting at 50,000 naira for the first month of non-compliance. Now, this initiative is part of the broader tax reform that aims to fostering accountability and closing revenue gaps in Nigeria financial system. Now, joining us to have this conversation is the lead partner at Cardinal Professional Services, LLP, who started his professional consulting career with KPMG Professional Services in the firm's tax and regulatory services division. He is Emmanuel Olalekan Onasami, right? That's the name. Yeah, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, when I hear all this taxing thing, my brain just takes a leave of absence because I think it's always too complicated. I leave it for the people that are experts to kind of like understand it. But first of all, what exactly is going on with the tax identification number, and why is it a topic on the lips of a lot of people?
You know, there've always been this conversation around, the government going back to the same set of people to collect, additional taxes, and, conversation has always been geared towards the fact that, we need to widen the tax net rather than going back to the same set of people, for additional taxes. It's not the conversation for today, If you run any business in Nigeria today, before you can open a bank account, ordinarily before this bill, you definitely have to present a tax identification number, So there has been some understanding between CBN, the joint tax boards, and FRS in the past, and CBN, using its regulatory power, has been able to mandate some of these financial institutions, particularly banks, to comply with this. In 2020, just following the line of development, the Finance Act actually introduced it in the law, mandating that corporate accounts must produce, tax identification numbers before you are able to get a bank account. So what they are just trying to do is to consolidate on this initiative on a broader spectrum, taking it beyond, bank customers, corporates, now introducing individuals. And then look at insurance business. Before you can buy any insurance ticket, you also have to produce your tax identification number. Then if you want to trade on the stock market, buying stock, equity, you then also have to provide, tax identification number. I think particularly is a move in the right direction. You understand? Because, the more people you have in the tax net, the more you are able to, collect taxes and get additional revenue, for the government, whether what the government is using the revenue for is another question, but the need to always show up revenue will always be a front burner conversation anytime.
I'm sorry, when you talk about widening, I've had this conversation with Taiwo Yedele over and over again. Widening the tax net in other countries, for example, you can quickly tell with the campaigns in the US that the Republicans are taxing the poor and the Democrats are taxing the rich. In Nigeria, we don't even know who they are taxing. It's like, come one, come more. Even the man that is selling recharge card, they're going to tax you. But in widening our tax net, who do we know is really paying taxes for us to be able to say, okay, these people are paying taxes, let's widen it? Do we even know the people who are paying taxes, apart from paying taxes?
So, and that's why this move may be necessary, you understand, because this move will enable you to have everybody, almost over 122 million Nigerians have bank accounts. If you are able to enforce this move and have everybody within the tax net, you can then have a better evaluation of who is paying tax or who is not paying tax. Nigeria has always been, in quote, an elitist community where people feel they are highly connected, they know people, they know that leaving those people that do not really know people to really comply with the law. And that's where the conversation, you mentioned political will, we always come, in, it is the political will that will get the elitists to really pay tax. You understand? If you don't have that, you will still see them get away with it. In Nigeria today, we have conversation. Nobody's asking politicians for their tax clearance certificate. It doesn't happen in any other clime. You understand? But in this environment, it's something that
that's why you get National Assembly is owing NEPA.
You understand?
And government houses.
Almost all the government houses, they are owing the electricity company. Because nobody asks all these questions.
Nobody asks questions. Even you, in selecting your candidate, that is not the front burner issue for you. Whether the person is tax compliant or not.
Complying or
not. But in some environment like US, it's a front burner conversation. They look at your tax records, because that is your commitment to that country. The fact that you are paying tax is you saying, I'm committed to the development of this country. So you cannot be aiming for the highest seat in the company or a leadership role in the country, without showing that commitment to developing the environment.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, please.
So our president, is it up to date with his tax?
I believe...
don't believe.
I believe the relevant tax authority will be able to speak better on that.
Because you know why I say this? I know I enter trouble.
You know that tax information is confidential information.
Wait, make I tell you. And let me speak my own personal story. So I worked in TVC for years, right, for a bit. And they were always deducting our taxes. Pay, right? Pay, yeah. I just did, we make on a state tax. They were always deducting our taxes. So when I left the company and I wanted to just carry on and continue paying my taxes,
you didn't have
there was no record. But they've been collecting the money. Do you understand? And don't forget that the collection company, it's been alleged that is linked to the president, the Alpha Beta, what's it called? The company that collects the revenue for taxes. I'm not because now you start them, you say elites, they know they pay. And it's true, because the truth is, for me, I think it would be a decent thing to say, you know what, this is my own clearance certificate. I am up to date with my taxes.
It's actually criminal and you can take them to court. Am I right?
So there are many reasons that could have contributed to that. It may not necessarily be from the perspective of the tax authority. It may also be from the perspective of the employer. You understand? The fact that an employer deducted from the salary doesn't mean the employer has remitted. You understand? So it is a collective engagement. As employee, as employer, we need to all be interested in the process. You know, having deducted my salary, from my salary, the payee, at the end of the year, I will ask for my clearance certificate.
They didn't give.
You understand? So that continuous engagement of seeking to see to it that, you know, you are remitting it is needed, because for you, that is a disadvantage, because there are some transactions that you want to do in the states you are resident, like Lagos State. Like there are some land transactions you can't do in Lagos State without.
Sorry, Messi, I'll let you come in. Let me even tell you how I found out.
Yeah.
At that time, Fashola was governor, right?
Yeah.
And he just launched the housing scheme. And part of the requirement was that your tax needed to be up to date. You know, my saving grace, I eventually applied and I got one of the houses. But the saving grace I had was that I was already paying taxes based on my business. So when so I had an up-to-date tax. But I was just wondering, you are deducting money. I worked with you guys for over 3 years. You're deducting money and you're not remitting it. And this is supposed to be a company, you understand, that is affiliated to the government. Because whether you like it or not, he owns the company, right? So, and I'm wondering if these people that are the ones saying that pay taxes, your own company is not what's it called?
We're not here.
Wait, no, Marianne, I'm not saying something Marianne that somebody said.
It's a bit emotional for her.
No, I'm trying to tell you.
Because there are several companies that are...
Let me land
media
the point.
Companies are very, very,
it's not
very...
even issue of media. Are we not paying taxes? We are paying taxes for our staff and we're remitting. I'm saying to you, that was how I found out. And I was lucky. Guess what? My other colleagues on the show, they couldn't apply. Why? Because all their revenue was from TVC and it was not, there was no record.
Wow.
So this is, I mean, this is what I'm saying, that it's not like people don't want to pay, but it's just that the people that are creating the laws are the ones breaking the laws. But let me let Messi come in.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll just read through, you know, part of the bill on all that it entails, a little bit of it. It talks about the fact that Nigerians mandated, you know, those who are bankers and stockbrokers must provide a tax identification number to open or operate a bank account. So my question is, what's the implication for existing, you know, bankers and stockbrokers?
So the proposal in the bill is also very clear. So if you have any existing customer that you don't currently have the tax identification number or tax ID, you then have to reach out to say, you know, I believe at the time they are done with signing the bill and converting it to a law, you understand, there will definitely be guidelines on how to implement it. So the guideline will spell out the timelines for some of these things. You know, if you have an existing customer, how long do they have to regularize that record? So you see banks reaching out to customers and asking them to provide, you know, that information. And if you don't have, you know, maybe there's also provision for FRS to automatically generate it for you and communicate it to you.
But how easy and accessible will that be? Because that's another thing.
No, the banks already have your records.
Yeah, anyway. No, I mean for the FIRS, because you know in Nigeria we're very quick to assent to laws and make, you know, push it out there. But the implementation process can be very tricky because of the bottlenecks and the bureaucracies in civil service. You see what's happening with the NIN. It's been years after Pantami left, and we're still dealing with long lines. People still dealing with, oh, my birth date is wrong. They say come and pay 30,000. NIN will say no, it's free. So what's the certainty that we're not going to have to deal with those bottlenecks in terms of?
Yeah, those bottlenecks arises because, you know, we've not been able to achieve a lot of synchronization within the system. You know, if you look at other climes, all you need to have is social security number and everything about you, you know, whether you're tax compliant, everything. I believe Taiwo Edele's recommendation also have that we should have a unified number system for everybody within the system.
We don't talk that one since.
Yeah,
did they hear us?
You understand, you know, but, you know, this environment is dynamic in the sense that I cannot leave what is on my table for you to take. You understand? Let us continue to run our own table separately.
Because it doesn't make any sense for us to have all of those multiple data collection system. Let's have a unified data collection system.
Understand.
And it makes life easy. You can easily trace everything that is going on.
I think Oyedele's recommendation is that the BVN is there, which is
it's already tied to my bank.
To all your accounts.
All my accounts. Like literally, if anybody wants to check my credit history right now, you just go through my BVN.
In fact, as of today, the tax authority are already using BVN for the purpose of tax assessment. So if a taxman approaches you now, they are not just going to limit your assessment to what you say. They have the back end to see the.
But you see, this is where I have a problem. you see this tax end that you are talking about. How many income? Because you need to be able to calculate that this is income and this is not. True. You understand? This is not a loan.
True.
A lot of us that are in business, we do a lot of bootstrapping. We do a lot of just keep on gathering. Accurate. You understand?
Very accurate.
So how do you now tell? You now say because of bank statement that you saw, you now say you want to tax me.
No, that is
it doesn't make any sense.
That's why the regime in Nigeria is a self-assessment regime. The government doesn't want to come and say all your inflows are revenue or income for you. So they give you the opportunity to say self-assess yourself.
This is what I'm making.
I'm doing. So, but if you refuse to do that, or you fail to file your returns when it's due, that's when they have to come and enforce. In the process of enforcing, they will come with the biggest hammer and say everything inflow is revenue. It's now left for you to now start
defending yourself.
And that's where the place of engaging a consultant to assist you, analyzing your income and know exactly what tax are due, per time.
So companies, I'll let you comment. Companies that collect taxes, right, from, I'm talking about now their staff, and they do not. So there are two types. Some that do not even remit at all. Some that remit, because that also happened. They were collecting a certain amount, but by the time the person resigned from the company and then went on to, he wanted to continue paying, they found out that what he was paying was way less than what the company was. How do you, so how do we do that in a way that, I ask this to say that if the government is trying to do, what's it called, increase the tax net to generate more income, how do we ensure that the income that is being generated is what is truly being remitted into the government coffers?
Okay, that's a very difficult conversation to dive into.
Why?
In this environment, you understand, because there's a lot of things that go on, you understand, that we may not be able to mention everything here. So I believe that government is also doing a lot to see to it that the tax that are due is also the tax that are, remitted. So there are many things that lead to that, you understand. Number one, you find yourself in an environment where the economic realities are harsh. That is kind of, affecting people's behavior, you understand. I can also see the possibility of, lack of education, you understand. Education in the sense that an average Nigerian is not very interested about the tax subject, you understand. And I believe it's a conversation that needs to come into our curriculum from secondary school so that people can start an appreciation, you understand. Because, you're an employee now, they just give you your payroll and they said, this is tax. You don't even have an appreciation of how they arrive at it.
Yes.
So it's just for you to go back if you are well versed about how it works, and say, guys, this is wrong. You understand? And if it is correct, you also follow through to make sure that that is what is remitted. You understand? Not to say that the tax collection agencies are not good people. You have very decent professionals among them. You understand? But in the same vein, you also have few bad eggs, you understand, that may compromise.
A few mostly bad eggs.
They are professionals, we are colleagues, we belong to professional bodies that, the expectation of best behavior is there, you understand. And, but few bad eggs compromise the system and then, leading to loss of revenue. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to release
before we release it.
Quickly, because 1 minute,
So, first off, do you think, because according to reports, we already have 40.1 million Nigerians who are financially excluded. That would mean that they're unbanked.
Unbanked.
So do you think that this bill, if it becomes law, at the end of the day, we see more persons who would move away from the banking system?
I don't really think so. You understand?
Sure?
Because
you sure?
Someone told me to stop putting my dollars in the bank and to put it inside my
Especially, I mean, I will also want to, when you juxtapose that with the current economic situation, I'm just saying, you think about it.
Well, you know, you want to evaluate it. There are some tickets that you cannot do that way. You know, it depends on the volume.
It depends on how wealthy you want to
you
get.
understand? So if you really want to remain that small,
you continue to play small.
Run it through all these small apps, you know. But if you really want to do big transactions, you have to be within the bank system. You know, I think what we need to do as much as possible is to engage. You understand, as citizens, there's a lot we can do to engage more, to demand that our taxes are used for the benefit of the people and not just for the very few, you understand? Because if you encourage people to pay taxes and they are not getting the benefits, you know, it's like an abusive relationship, you understand?
Yeah.
But if the relationship is mutually beneficial, and then everybody will be happy to pay tax. But the truth is that in this environment, for it to be mutually beneficial, you need to be aggressive about demanding that mutual benefit.
Sincerely, this question is not for you, it's for a politician. So, I mean, but you've addressed it. It's
yeah,
just that,
you have.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much. We'll go on a very short because we want to release you because I hear you have a sweetheart to go and attend to. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay,
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Etiosa, where we are in. Etiosa's FAC allocation is about 698 million per month. Etiosa's estimated IGR per month is 1.6 billion. 1.6 plus 6, let's just say roughly 2.2 billion. You don't have water, you don't have public schools, primary healthcare is a sham, and you call interlocking tiles an express. Really?
If the foundations be bad,
what can the
righteous do? How do we start amending the foundation? And you talked about the Constitution. We've had so many constitutional amendments back and forth, and half the time they're for personal interest and not about we the people. So how do we go about it? Because you've also said we don't have the people. So how do we manufacture them?
You see, the collective ignorance in Nigeria is legendary, underestimated. People don't know. Right? You see, it doesn't matter how determined you are. A billion fools coming together sincerely to take an action will take a foolish action. It doesn't matter how many they are or how long how they feel, how much they hate. Determination is not a strategy. Neither is anger. Right? People have to learn to subject their feelings to reasoning and allow those reasoning to be guided by truth before they move to action. There's a lot of movement going on in Nigeria, but 99.9% of the time, it's a movement of emotion to action. The reasoning and truth is missing within the gap.
And no strategy.
Now, when you have a critical mass that are terribly ignorant, fearful, and opaque, because you see, you have to understand the character of the Nigerian. He is extremely hopeful. Extremely hopeful. Now, anything you are willing to tolerate will never change. Never.
Now, if you just tuned in, we're having a conversation on the new bill mandating tax IDs for bankers and stockbrokers and asking the question, is the tax ID for bankers a game changer? Now, of course, we are just by ourselves. Now, you can join the conversation. What's your experience? What do you think? Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also call the phone lines 07025007749 or 07014242420. All right, so, I mean, I was having a conversation about my personal experience when I was working at TVC, right? And the truth is, I don't know if the system has changed.
It must have.
Right?
I'm hoping
the system has changed. Do you understand? For the sake of clarity. But whilst I was there for 3 years, right, nothing was remitted into my tax, and it was being deducted. So
I think all of us on this table have had a similar experience.
I kind of understand where
we
you're
all
coming from, but you're just saying the truth and nothing but the truth. Because up until this moment, I still remember like some months back, even in 2024, I still, get those calls and say, hey, so what are you still doing with my...
So you deducted the money, what did you do?
Do you understand? That means it looks as though, we want to reconcile your account and all those things are English language. Do you get what I mean? So it's just unfortunate. And it's a system that we find ourselves in.
Yeah. I think that many companies in this country, because of, again, just like the guest said, because of how dynamic our society is and the fact that people are not, all hands are not on deck in terms of carrying out their assignments and doing their jobs, plugging all the loopholes, there are lots of companies that actually are on this table who have continuously deducted from the people that work for them but have not remitted. And this is a problem because you ask me as your staff to trust you with my monies. And it's not just about taxes, it's also about pensions. So there's several deductions for HMO, for health. Most of those monies, half the time, don't necessarily go for the things that they're being deducted. So it's an issue of trust. And we're talking about bad leadership, the fact that we can't trust our leaders. But then even the people that you work for, our employers, are also people that we can't really trust. So
well, I think for a system to be bracing to do such, they must have a back-end somewhere. Because, I mean, if any real, tax collection officer or something comes to that office, that's a very huge penalty. So for you to do that, it means that you are very sure that nobody's going to come.
But you also know that we have the under the table and the kickbacks.
Oh, of course, there are all of those as well.
Because of the corruption that
there are all of those as well. So because for me, yes, they want to increase the tax net, they want to widen it, and they want to do all of that. Like the guest rightly said, it is actually a good thing, right? But we're hoping that beyond just widening the tax net, when the net is widened and people are like, they are collecting, let it be transparent. I mean, there won't be like, I mean, I have people that are living in the US right now and they are working. They know clearly this is how much is going, and they
this is how much you're also going to earn at the end of the year.
At the end of the year, so I mean, they are very, very. In fact, they calculate. This is how, then if they're starting any new business, there's a system. So I just want us to have something that is very transparent to do business. I mean, to live by in Nigeria. Let's just be very transparent with the transaction. If you say you're deducting XYZ amount of money from a staff or whoever, let it be remitted. So when the staff logs into their portal, because everybody has an idea. Yes. You can actually see that, yes, whatever it is being deducted is being remitted,
I also think that
it's a huge fraud in a lot of companies.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a huge fraud in
it's
a lot of
something
companies.
that you can actually take people to court for.
I mean, I remember sometime I've worked for an organization where, there was literally, just like you said, you just wake up and find out that there was the whole tax story and deduction and payment was just a scam. There was literally nothing there. There was nothing there at all. And so you just thought that you have just been swindled by a corporate entity, and it doesn't make any sense. Where do you even start from? So, but generally speaking about taxation, I also think that just as you asking that we be transparent with the entire process, we also need to, apart from being transparent, we also need to see what we're doing with these taxes.
So this is where
you took the stories
right?
out of my
because
mouth.
like when you see those people outside of this
Nigerian
country, they don't have a problem. I mean, you see those people outside, those your friends, they'll tell you they don't feel bad about the taxes because they just say, okay, we see what the taxes
and that's what
used for.
and that's what
so
our politicians go there to enjoy.
You can see everything,
the good transportation, the power.
So this is
the infrastructural development.
I mean,
if
you notice when Fashola was governor, I mean, I came into Lagos when Fashola was governor. And I remember that there were jingles, right? I mean, he used a lot of celebrities. I think Funke Akindele, different people did about paying your taxes. This is what he's doing for you. I mean, Fashola made taxation so nice. Literally, nobody came to ask me. I used my 2 leg. I walked into the bank and I told them I wanted to do it. And that was how I started paying my taxes all by myself. I didn't need anybody. Why? Because he could paint that picture for me. I could see where it was going. And when the opportunity now came, when he just finished the housing the housing scheme, and he now says, okay, the number 1 criteria to qualify to apply for these houses is your tax. You see me smiling because why? I had been paying years before that time. So I'm saying to you that I hear you 100%, and I feel like it is not really so much of the people at this point. It is the government.
Yes,
everything
the lack
still,
of transparency.
Yes, everything is still on their shoulders. You need to be intentional about showing us. Look at the road we passed today now. Look at where we passed. Even the major Lekki Ekpe Expressway. Look at it's going down by the minute.
Yeah.
So when you say to people that pay taxes, they are wondering, what are you using this money for? Do you understand? There are so many abandoned projects. There are so many things. So it's not enough to say you want to widen the tax bracket. I can tell you for free that Nigerians love great things.
Yeah, we do.
If you, as a government,
and
if you are intentional about giving us comfort, we will be so happy giving you the money.
It's just the same thing. It's just the same thing about saying when you have a product or a service, as long as usually you hear people say, oh, it's expensive, and you know that a certain class of people will pay. As long as there's value for the money that you're getting, the money you're giving, you're getting value for it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that the people
are
asking.
It's like going to a place, a particular place to eat. It's not because the food is cheap. It's because it's good. And
you can see the
for
value
that amount. Yes, and the ambience, everything. So you know you're paying
You're not just paying
for everything. Exactly. In this country, we always place the cart before the horse. And this is detail for all our leaders, whether at the state, local, or federal levels. We always want people to do the right things, but the people that are in office are not even showing an example. You're not holding up a mirror to, because that mirror is supposed to be a reflection of you. If you're, as a leader, not doing the right thing, why do you expect, just go to the streets now and tell somebody you don't pay your tax. They'll be so mad at you because they'll point to their streets. The number of potholes, the fact that they can't drive into their homes.
And I'll tell you, even our roads, Mercy, I'll let you come in. Even roads, right? At some point in one estate that I lived in, we had to come together. We put money together.
That's Nigeria,
and we did the road, right? A similar road that the government did in my sister's estate, right? A shorter stretch of road. They used like 3 times the amount because it was a government project. Because the money was coming from our pocket, we could see. So it's not even about even doing now. It is transparency. It is also the accountability
on the part of
that we put in that. Okay, so you've done this road. This road is supposed to cost maybe ideally 100,000 naira. You as a government, you put 1 billion naira and you can go to sleep.
Look at your blue rail and red rail. Something that should cost less. Let's not get started.
So let's not go there. So go ahead.
And then again, you mentioned something, you talked about the awareness, and I'm asking a very big question now, is what do we have? Because I know that we have the Ministry of Orientation and Information across the entire country, at the federal, we have them in states. And I remember way back that time, again, just like you said, in Cross River State, there was this advertorial or, public announcement and campaign and awareness about Arikpo paying your tax, right?
Yeah.
So
it was a song that every child could sing.
I also think that there's so much that government, and that's why we can't take government out of the equation. These ministries have literally failed in, carrying out their tax, their duties and performing, the things that they need to do. Because People also need to understand the reason why they pay tax as well, and they also need to see the dividends for tax. So if you're paying tax, the system also needs to be transparent, and that's what we're asking for.
Okay.
It's so unfortunate. And then again, I also remember the tax committee chairman, they had a proposal, and we understand that the paper sounds very great because that stakeholder meeting where we sat down, it sounded like a fantastic document. But we also know that it would be a lot of people cutting their nose, to spite their face. So will that happen if, part of that policy is implemented?
So the question...
Because right now, Marianne actually asked something very, very valid. Who are we tasking? Like the tax that which people are we? Because you're not supposed to tax the poor. You're not supposed to tax poverty. You tax
So
riches.
let me say that.
So
if we want to go by this question, right, is the tax IDs, will it be a game changer? I think so. Right, because again, it should be a game changer. However, we're appealing to the government that there are so many things that can be done that would help that process a lot more seamless. We don't have to fight all the time when it comes to issues around taxes or whatever. We don't have to fight the government. I mean, just show us a little bit of direction to say this is where we're going, and this is how much we're targeting, and this is what it's going to do. I'm sure a lot of people would just gladly jump on it, and they say, you know what, I think I want to trust the government, and I want to back it up with my own civic responsibility, paying the taxes.
That can only happen when you have a government that's very transparent and has nothing to hide.
So that's why we're appealing.
It's the fact that normally you expect that you should have that two-way communication.
We have to deal with the trust
dialogue.
deficit that we have as a people with our government. We're in a toxic relationship with our political leaders, and so we take everything they tell us with a pinch of salt, and that's because over the years they've not been truthful to us. We've also seen how they live lavishly off of our savings, and then they tell us to tighten our belts. So until the government is accountable enough to a point where we are certain that they're people-oriented, this conversation is going to be had for years to come. Yeah.
All right, so on that note, I think we've had a fantastic conversation. All right, before we go, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow. Again, if you missed, before we miss our call, thank you again to our guest who joined us earlier, Emmanuel, Olalekan, Onasami. If you missed our quote, here it is again. It says, for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity. Please, our president, listen to this quote very well. It's like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. That is going to be impossible. It means that it's not only taxes, right, that can push our economy into prosperity. We need to be very intentional about being productive as a country. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Raise Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.